Hi, my name is Annika Hey. I'm a design principal with MentorMate. I've talked in the past about the value of design research and the different types of design research that we use here at MentorMate. Now I want to talk a little bit about the MentorMate design research framework. At MentorMate, we use a framework that we call Decades to make sure that we are hitting on the most important considerations every time we approach a design research project. The Decades framework doesn't tell us how to implement or go through the process specific to every single type of design research methodology, but it does remind us of the pieces that we need to consider in order for our research to be effective, no matter what design methodology we choose. Decades stands for determine your objectives, establish your research questions, choose your methodologies, assemble your research plan, do the research, evaluate your insights, and share your insights. Decades is a simple 7-step process to ensure well-considered and well-defined design research initiatives. First thing that we do is determine our objectives. A design research objective is the single most important thing that you can do when you start to plan out your design research. Your research objective is going to articulate what it is that you actually hope to accomplish with your research. It's going to help you control the scope of your design research engagement, and it's going to help you manage your client and customer expectations as you move through a design research project. A good objective is open-minded, narrow in scope, answerable, unbiased, specific, and free of assumptions. It's important that you look at your objective and you don't take on something that's too big to handle. Your objective should be specific enough that people understand what you're hoping to accomplish and can bring it into something that is attainable through the resources, people, and exercises that you have available to you. An objective might sound something like, we want to find out what features our users will think are valuable in our product. That's fine, but it could be more specific. A slightly better objective would be, we want to understand our users' assumptions around what types of interactions will be valuable to them within a specific context so that we can determine what features need to be included in our MVP product release. The next thing that we do is we establish our research questions. Every objective is likely to have one or more questions that we need to answer to meet and satisfy the needs of that objective. If I wanted to understand my user's experience so that I could determine what features to include in my MVP product, I have a lot of different things that I want to know about them. I want to know who is my user. I want to know what do they do day to day in relationship to the products that we're building. I would like to know what are their expectations based off of other use cases that should apply to the product that I'm creating for them. There are several questions that are going to come out of my objective. We'll use these questions next to choose the methodologies that we hope to implement through our design research. The next step in the Decades framework is choose your methodologies. There are a lot of different ways to do design research. I could do user interviews, I could do usability testing, I could do observational research, or I could put out surveys. Those are just a few examples of a very long list of research methodologies to choose from. But the important thing is that I choose methodologies that best serve the needs of my research objective and questions. Once I've chosen my design research methodologies, I'm going to assemble a research plan. A research plan is a document that we use to keep design researchers, internal and external stakeholders, and our research coordinators aligned on how we're going to actually execute and do our research. A research plan is an important document, but it's not one that we create just for the sake of documentation. It's a living, breathing piece of work that many people contribute to. Through our design research plan, we determine and record not only the scope and activities that we'll accomplish, but the different resources we'll need, where and how we're going to execute, who we need, our budget, and a lot of other practical considerations. This plan is best used to keep people aligned on all of the details of the work that we'll do. Without a design research plan, it's too easy for scope to expand, for clients to expect something different than what we intend to give them, or for people to miss pieces that we need to accomplish our design research. Your research plan keeps you aligned. We recommend that you don't skip this piece of work. The next step is to do the research. This is actually one of the easier pieces of a design research engagement. However, don't take it too lightly. Doing effective research requires a lot of different skills and roles. You do need a research lead who can help pull everything together, and you also need a moderator. Sometimes that's the same person. But it's also beneficial to have somebody like a research coordinator, or if you need a prototype, have somebody skilled in creating prototypes for you to use in usability testing. Be sure you evaluate your methodology and get the right people in early so that you can plan and move forward together as you do your research. The next thing you'll do is you'll evaluate your findings. This is probably the most important piece of the work that we do, aside from setting appropriate objectives. When we evaluate our findings, what we're doing is we're taking the data we've seen, we're applying our own expertise and turning that into something insightful. We take data and we turn it into knowledge, and we turn that knowledge into insights. Evaluating our findings typically takes the form of something that we call synthesis. When we do design research synthesis at MentorMate, we bring in a diverse set of perspectives and roles to help us unpack and organize the data in a way that allows us to see a lot of different patterns emerge. Typically, this actually looks like us using a physical or digital whiteboard. We stay low fidelity, and we use a lot of Sharpies and physically move the data elements around. Doing this, we call affinity mapping, lets us see themes emerge by physically grouping things together. Once we've physically grouped things through a number of different lenses, we take everybody's own subject matter expertise and start discussing through our lens and our knowledge. Through those discussions, we start to ask ourselves, why did this happen? What if this had happened instead? And we can come up with insights that we shape about what it is that we saw. These insights are what help us to drive outcomes as we move forward with our design research. The last thing that we'll do is we'll share our insights. Design research really isn't worth much if we don't share our insights out with people who are going to make use of it and drive outcomes as a result. When you share your insights, there's a couple of key things to keep in mind. First, you need to simplify what it is that you're sharing. Our job as design researchers is to sift through all of the data and turn our findings into clear, concise, and actionable statements and recommendations. As we do that, we also need to make sure that we're paying attention to who our audience is. When we share our information out as actionable items, sometimes that means that we're sharing to our technical leads, but other times it means that we're sharing out to our business stakeholders. These are two very different audiences who speak sometimes very different languages and need to be communicated to differently. We should always consider our audience and who they are before we share out our insights. Next, we need to make sure that we're sharing with the correct audience. It's too easy sometimes to think that our business stakeholder is our only audience. Our design research can influence everything that our project team and product team are doing together. To share our insights with our technical leads and our business analysts is just as important as sharing our insights with our clients and stakeholders. Lastly, when we think about sharing out our insights, we need to eliminate gatekeeping. It can be tempting to keep your design insights through design research close to the design team, but the good that they can do there is limited. Again, design research influences all aspects of product development and creation. It wouldn't be fair to us or to our end users if we kept our design findings so close to the design team that others couldn't take advantage of them as well. By sharing our design research and design insights broadly, we make their value available to everybody who's working with us and therefore create the best value for our end users. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for our next video on design research.